Hello, everyone, and welcome into the hospitality room presented by Mascot Media. Bobby Swofford, Blair Cartwright with you. It is our first show of 2025 as we ring in the new year. Did you have a big celebration?
I didn't even make it to midnight.
Did
I'll be honest.
not. Oh,
No, I
wow.
didn't. Yeah,
I did and immediately went to bed.
yeah, yeah. I was out.
It's sad. I'm reading a book
Yeah,
on King George, the last king of America. It's like
yeah.
on New Year's Eve. I mean, that's what
No,
I've
we went
come to
out.
in life.
The wife and I went out and had a couple beverages, and left before the craziness started. And then we got home, and she wanted to write down some goals for the new year.
Mm.
So we did that, and then by about 11 o'clock, I was passed out.
Wow. And
Yeah,
are the goals still intact? Three
they are.
days in.
They actually are. So
What's
they
the
haven't
over
been
under?
blown just yet.
Okay.
The
What's
over
the
under,
over under?
we set five as a couple, if you will,
Oh,
and then five
nice.
individual. So
Okay.
so of the 15, I'm going to say that we accomplish four of them.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's good. You're off to a good start.
yeah,
We quit setting goals at our house.
yeah,
We're sad. We're sad.
yeah,
And before we get started, um, you sent something to me last night. UCA playing basketball, ASUN
yeah.
season opener, and a legend was born in Conway last night. Do tell.
Yeah, the country was introduced to the legend that is going to be Lane Taylor, the freshman from Farmington, put on a show last night. He held to 2 points in the first half. He's been averaging 16, so he's had a good year. But he drops 20 in the second half, scored 7 points in about a 30-second span. Ended up scoring 27, took the defending conference champion to double overtime. UCA was picked to finish next to last in the league. I think they turned some heads. Even though they're 4-10, they're a whole lot better than that record shows. They've now got 5 losses by 6 points or less, and so they haven't
Jeez.
learned how to win yet. But Lane Taylor, if he plays remotely close to that rest of the conference season, the transfer portal is going to do all they can to get him in it.
Oh yeah, and he had a sling on playing with a bum
Yeah,
shoulder.
yeah. The non-shooting shoulder, his left shoulder, he had a wrap on it. He was in a sling an hour before tip-off, and they didn't know if he was going to play. And he goes off and does that.
Yeah.
That's what you call a gamer, Blair. It's pretty
Yes.
impressive to watch.
Yeah. Well, we'll retweet on our
Yeah.
feed wherever it is the little
27
clip you
points,
sent
10
me. That was
assists.
insane. Yeah.
Yeah, 10 assists to go along with those 27 points too. It's impressive performance.
That is insane. Totally insane. All right, let's get to our talking points. College football playoff. We're down to
Yeah.
four. We had two good games. We had two beatdowns,
Hmm.
and I mean, much better than round one.
Yeah.
Anything surprise you in essence?
One, I mean, I guess I'll tip the cap. I mean, you got to give a little credit to Notre Dame.
Yeah.
I know that Georgia was out without their quarterback, but for Notre Dame to come out and play that well defensively against the run was pretty impressive. And the quarterback for Georgia comes out and completes 7 of his first 8 passes, and he's got a little rhythm going. But Notre Dame made big plays. And of course, the kickoff return, the strip sack right before the half, and get the touchdown. I mean, so those things happen in game time in like a 30-second span. You're talking the
Mm-hmm.
final 30 seconds of the first half and the opening kickoff in the second half. And you don't see Georgia shell shocked very often. And Georgia doesn't lose to anybody but Alabama. So that was really impressive. I think if you're a Texas fan, you got to be worried
Oh,
because they've shown in the two playoff games that they can't put a complete game together.
yeah.
Looked really, really good in the first quarter. I texted you. I said, this one's over. It's
Mm-hmm.
17-0, 17-3, I think it was. And all of a sudden they just laid over. Arizona State did as much as they possibly could to stay in it. The officials and the non-targeting call, I think, really jumped out to me. Good Lord, what are we
Yeah.
doing here?
What is
Uh,
targeting?
yeah, I mean, if that's not targeting, then there's no targeting.
Yeah.
That was the most blatant I've ever seen a call say, this is against the brand. We're not going to call this against a brand. Because that puts Arizona State in field goal range, a chance to win it in regulation, and the college football wasn't going to have that. They're like, oh, we got to
Well,
have Texas.
but granted, it was no guarantee Arizona State could make a field goal, even the guy
No, correct.
had hit to. But yeah, I mean, it was
Yeah.
like, and Twitter blew up, and it was like there was
Mm-hmm.
no rules official anywhere
None.
that said not targeting. But the
Yeah.
crazy thing is, it wasn't called on the field. It was
Hmm.
the replay booth, and no one has any. And the big question is, where is where was the command center and who was in
Yeah.
charge of it? Because they're the ones that stopped it and then deemed that it wasn't targeting, and no one seems to know. A friend of mine that works in the replay booth said that that was the one game that the replay official, and I guess he saw the list, he had access to the list, didn't have any accolades. So I thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I'm not a conspiracy guy, and I've never been like, oh, they push an agenda. That was the first time I've watched a play and said, oh, okay. I mean, they clearly got that wrong. Even when they go to replay, if they wouldn't have gone to replay, I don't think anybody would have said a
No,
word about it. But the
no,
fact that they
nobody
buzzed
caught
it
it.
down and stopped it and go back and review it, I mean, you can watch that from any angle that you want. A third grader who's playing football for the first time can tell you that's helmet to helmet,
Yeah,
forcible contact to the head, and I didn't understand it. But
yeah.
Oregon,
Oh,
what in the world happens? Ohio State obviously is playing like we expected Ohio State to play all season with that kind of
mm-hmm.
roster. And then Penn State did expose what they were supposed to. I mean, they manhandled Boise State up front. They weren't
Yeah,
able to run the football, and then they kind of played with their food a little bit too. I mean, Penn State
yeah.
was a better team. You felt like they could kind of do whatever they wanted to in the passing game,
Mm-hmm.
and then they finally popped a big one late, but they let Boise hang around. So, I
Yeah.
mean, I'm gonna ask you this question: reseed them
Yes.
right now, 1 through 4. I think it could be very interesting. We could have probably very completely different answers.
Yeah, I think we could. One thing that did jump out though was the teams that had the bye all
Hmm.
started slow,
Yeah, played poorly.
and having a month off, and I think
Hmm.
having played a game can be a huge advantage.
Yeah, and you look at the teams that advance. It's what 5, 6, 7, and 8. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So what this tells you, one, the committee just is dumb. They don't have a clue what they're doing.
Well, the
But
bracket
yeah,
was
3 and 4
ridiculous.
shouldn't have been 3 and 4. 3 and 4
Yeah.
should have been probably 10 and 12. We get that.
Yeah.
But going into the Final Four, I mean, am I crazy to think that Penn State's got a really good chance to win a national championship?
I
I know
mean,
James Franklin's their head coach.
yeah, I mean, that's the crazy thing. We're at the point with the four, you can make a case for each one to
Yeah,
win. I mean, Penn State's got the tight end and a good defense. Notre Dame's defense is incredible.
yeah,
Texas has skill. Ohio State is just like you still I mean, it's you still there are still losses you cannot understand.
yeah.
Texas losing to Georgia twice, Notre Dame losing to Northern Illinois.
Northern Illinois. Are we about to live in a world in 2025 where we say our college football national champion lost to Northern Illinois?
It's quite possible. I mean,
Yeah.
and the shocking thing is Notre Dame outcoached Georgia on the
Yes.
on the punt
Yeah.
switch out where Kirby was like they can't do that. Center never touched
Hmm.
the ball, so it wasn't dead, so they could.
Yep.
But you knew they were going to hard count, and
Yeah.
Georgia still fell for it. I mean, they've just been kind of
Well,
skating by all year, and it
yeah.
finally caught up with them.
I mean, go back to early in the game where you've got maybe a redshirt receiver who's on the
Hmm.
sideline and bumps the official, and instead of being 1st and 10 at the 11, you got to back it up all the way past the 25, and you have
Yeah.
to settle for a field goal. I mean, we have seen the unraveling, and I'm using that being dramatic, the unraveling
Hmm.
of the discipline of Georgia football for a
Yeah.
couple of years off the field,
Yes.
all the issues that they've had. But now we're starting to see it on the field. I mean,
Yeah.
you've got a receiver who's got no business being anywhere near the sideline.
Hmm.
I mean, he should be back behind the bench, if you will. And yet he's right there on top of the action, runs into official, and likely costs his team a touchdown, costs
Yeah.
you a ton of momentum, and then you don't get any of it back. I mean,
Yeah.
to me, Kirby Smart is a really, really good football coach whose program has no discipline. And we saw it
Oh,
in the game. The special
yes.
teams, and early on, like Georgia got so many gifts, but back to back running into the kickers on a punt. Are you kidding? But from the same guy, and you
Yeah.
don't take advantage of things like that. Um, Georgia's not done. I'm not saying that they're going to be in the hunt for a national championship every year, but there's some warts starting to show up on that frog. There's no
No,
doubt.
no question about it. And the drops. The
Yeah.
drops bit them. I
Lead the
mean,
nation. How do you lead the
unbelievable.
nation in drops and still win 12 games?
Yeah, I mean,
Crazy.
Riley Leonard didn't even throw for 100 yards,
They had
and they won the
230
game.
yards of offense and won the game and dominated the game.
Yeah, I mean, their defense is nasty.
Yeah, it
Um,
is.
I, Penn State's playing really well. Texas
Hmm.
has yet to play a complete game all year, which
Yeah.
to no one's
If you to
surprise.
me, if you rank the four teams, Texas is last.
Oh, they should get boat raced by Ohio State.
Hmm.
I mean, maybe the Michigan loss was the best thing that happened to Ohio State,
Yeah, maybe. I
but
mean, Texas is going to have the athletes in the back end that can run with Ohio State. That's going to be the one saving grace.
they've got to stick with their motion though. Their motion that Sark was using
Hmm.
early on, Arizona State didn't know what to do. They quit
Yeah,
running motion. Their offense went nowhere.
yeah, that's a good
It's
point.
weird. It's like he overthinks it. I don't know if he just got conservative or what, but they're not a complete team. I think they're
Hmm.
still a little bit of a fraud. So,
Yeah. You want really bad ratings? Give me Ohio State and Notre Dame in the national championship. The South won't turn it on, other than the
mm,
Catholics.
yeah, but maybe I don't, no, but they'll turn it on because they're hoping for carnage. I mean, I don't know. It's
Yeah,
still the national championship. It would be hard to turn away. But I
yeah.
hear what you're saying. I mean, it's the first time ever. I mean, Texas is not in the SEC. You don't have any SEC teams, and you can
Hmm.
debate whether or not they are an SEC team.
Yeah.
I mean, it's wild. But the SEC was not very good this year.
No, it wasn't, man. And I think we're starting to see with this, with the whole playoff in general, that the SEC was down, but college football was down too. Like the best, everybody thought Oregon was by far the best team in the country, and they got boat raced in the first quarter.
Yeah. Well, is it maybe that the SEC has always been able to stockpile the talent because that's where the talent
Hmm.
is. Now with the portal, guys aren't staying,
Yeah.
and waiting their turn. And now with NIL, hey, I can go over here and get paid because we're
Yeah.
seeing crazy numbers. So maybe the SEC has kind of lost its edge, so to speak.
No, I mean, yeah, I mean, because you're starting to see the numbers. You know, Ohio State allegedly had $20 million on their roster. I mean, but it's all about, what have you done lately? I mean, look at Desmond James, the receiver for
Yeah.
Arkansas, has one good game, makes three catches, three. That's
Yeah.
it, and he's in the portal. And
Yeah.
because I guarantee somebody saw that tape and said, you know what, I got an extra 150 or $200,000 for a guy who can run that fast,
Yeah.
and that
And actually
that's all it's
catch
going
the
to be.
ball. And
Yeah,
actually catch the ball.
I
Well,
mean,
and
Lane
you don't
Kiffin's
know.
going to do wonders for a kid.
Yeah. Well, and let's be honest. Tampering exists. I
Oh my
mean, we
gosh,
already
yeah.
know that Quinn Ewers allegedly has a $6 million offer, which, I mean, that's insane. But
Hmm.
when it comes to football, there's enough crazy people out there that will part with their money.
Well, here's going to be what's crazy. Say Texas does win a national championship,
Hmm.
and he transfers and goes to plays for Notre Dame, because that's what the rumble is. Is he's going
Yeah.
to get $6 million to transfer to Notre Dame?
Yeah. Or
How
Alabama.
crazy is that going to be?
Oh, it's not. Well, every quarterback on the four left is, I think, a portal guy, aren't they? Did
Yeah.
Allard start at Penn State?
Yeah, I mean, what I read about him, I was watching a clip on social media. I think it was on Twitter. They said, what if he leads Penn State to a national championship? He all of a sudden turns into maybe a potential draft pick this year. I mean, we're starting to put more stock into the college football playoff now with quarterbacks than the NFL does with playoffs.
It reminds me of the NBA in a sense. You think about it, the
Yeah.
NCAA tournament. Holmgren, no one had heard
Hmm.
of him. He has a great tournament at Gonzaga. Next thing you know, he's a lottery pick.
Yeah. Who
Um,
is the guard at UConn that led him on the crazy run, and all
oh,
of a sudden he turns himself into a lottery pick?
yeah, Walker, Kimball Walker.
Kemba Walker, yeah. I mean, and
Yeah.
he wasn't much in the NBA, but all of a sudden, just because of the run he helped put his team on through the conference tournament and then in the tournament, he turned himself to a lottery pick and made a ton of money.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Sam Bradford.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just the draft is such a crapshoot, but there are so many bad organizations out there that will overreact to two good games.
yeah. No, you're right.
So,
And all it takes is one general manager to fall in love with you, or
yeah.
one fan base or city that falls in love with you. Like the Giants are going to overpay to trade up to get Shedeur Sanders if they don't get the number one pick. And the guy is 2-9 against ranked teams in his career.
Oh, and the way he looked in the Alamo Bowl, I mean,
Yeah.
good Lord. Throw it away. Quit
Mm-hmm.
running 35 yards that way.
Yep.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's crazy. Our draft picks this year are that's going to be fun cuz that's going to be nuts. All right, we'll switch gears. We'll talk a little basketball. The Hogs ranked, good
Yeah.
win against Oakland. Now they go to number 1 Tennessee, and we don't know if they're at full strength.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody knows what has happened to now I can't even think of his name. Uh, the big the guy from FAU,
Oh, John L. Davis.
John L. Davis.
Yeah.
Hadn't heard mentioned. Didn't play against Oakland. I don't think he was on the bench. I don't remember seeing him.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Adu supposedly has the flu. Thero has the flu. This could get ugly.
Yeah,
Or
I mean, and that's why you see the opening line is in double digits at 12, 12 and a half, depending on which betting service you're looking at. And a ranked John Calipari team is not going to be a double digit underdog against many teams.
no.
So you think, Arkansas is not full strength, whether it's the flu. Adu and Thero are huge. Thero has been 10 times more impactful than I thought he was going to be.
Oh yeah.
Obviously, Boogie Flane's been really, really good. Thero's got a chance to play, if he continues this play, to be a conference player of the year type.
Oh yes.
It's been pretty impressive, but I mean it's a tall task for Arkansas, and if they're not 100%, which they clearly don't seem to be, and you hope it's just a stomach bug for all those guys, and maybe John L. Davis had it too, but it's not a good time to be limping in, even though Arkansas is playing pretty well. That second half against Oakland was impressive.
Whew. That first half, I'm going. Oh my gosh, Saturday's going to be nasty
Mm-hmm.
because Thero is pretty much the offense, and he was struggling somewhat. The Oakland Post player reminded me so much of Corliss Williamson, just the way his footwork and he passing. I mean, he was just doing the little things down low. Very good. If they could somehow get him out of the portal,
Yeah.
it's like that's what they need. Especially come tournament time, is somebody down low who can create shots and make shots. So
Mm-hmm.
we'll see. But man, what a hell of a way to start the conference season. Number 1 team.
Yep.
So, yeah. All right. Enough basketball. Let's get to the NFL. It's really not a good schedule. There's not very many good games, but we can kind of give a synopsis of teams. I mean, because the
Yeah.
spreads are insane. And
Yep.
yet the owners want to add another week to this. So it would be even crazier. It's more or less, do you trust the spread? Browns figuring out that maybe Deshaun Watson wasn't a great idea. The Ravens, 17 and a half. I mean, these are
17 and a half.
professionals.
Yeah.
Professionals.
Yeah. So there's four teams that we got to pay attention to this week: Cleveland, Tennessee, New England, and the Giants. They're all tied with the same record.
Mm-hmm.
All four of them are going to do, no matter what they're saying, they're going to do what it takes to lose this weekend. And the Browns have started that tank, even though they restructured Deshaun Watson's contract, which makes you think they're stuck with him for another year because they're spreading some of that money out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Baltimore. So what's the conference standings looking like? Baltimore's locked in. They need a win to win the division. So they're going to play their guys. So Baltimore, I'm not going to take 17 and a half, but Baltimore's going to win. I'll take Cleveland to cover.
You say the Browns have to tank. The Browns don't have to do anything to tank. They just need
true.
to show
They're
up.
really bad.
I, I'll, yeah, that's a lot of points, but give me the Ravens. I mean, the Browns are terrible. This one's a little intriguing. Bengals need 9,000 kinds of help. Steelers are still battling for the division. 1.5. I mean, this could be actually a good game. And Joe Burrow, good Lord, what a year he's had.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the few games worth watching this weekend. Cincinnati and Pittsburgh always put together a pretty good one. I'm going to take Cincinnati. I like how they're playing late in the year. Pittsburgh's been kind of trending in the wrong direction late in the season. A lot of times in these coin flip games, you defer to the quarterback and Joe Burrow over anybody that Pittsburgh's going to roll out there. So give me Cincinnati.
I'm with you. I mean, Cincinnati's on a heater right now. Do you
Yeah.
pay T. Higgins?
No, I don't think so.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, because he's a really really good number two,
Mm-hmm.
but somebody's going to overpay him to be their number one, and it may be New England to be quite honest, and he's not going to be as productive.
Okay, fair enough. Panthers, Falcons. Falcons need a win to get in. Probably went
Mm-hmm.
too late to Penix.
Yeah. I'm going to go
It's
Carolina. I know they're not playing for much. I mean, Carolina's sitting there at where are they at? They're not good. They're 4-12. So I mean,
yeah.
it's going to cost them a draft pick if they win it. I think Atlanta will find a way to win, but I'm not giving up 8 points. So I'll go
No,
Panthers.
I'm with you. I don't think Atlanta can beat anybody by 8 points. Well, except maybe the Browns.
Yeah.
I'm assuming the Commanders aren't playing anybody because the Cowboys are only getting 4.5
Yeah.
with
But, I
Cooper
mean,
Rush.
yeah, but I mean, this matters though as far as seeding. A potential home
Yeah.
game for Washington. So I think that they'll do just enough to finish off the Cowboys season. So I'll take the Commanders and to cover, but I think this one may be a 7 to 10 point game.
Okay, I'm with you. I'll take the Commanders. Is it the last game for McCarthy in Dallas?
I think he's done enough to keep his job. Honestly, I mean the Cowboys are 7-9, and they did this all without Dak. They did most of it without CeeDee Lamb. Obviously, the defense has been banged up in the secondary. I think he's done a pretty decent job, and he probably deserves at least one more run at it. And especially coming off an offseason when you actually do something, you got to go out there and get some players.
Oh, come on. They were all in. All in. Jerry said they were all in. And they were all in.
They were all in.
All in
All in.
what? Who knows?
Yeah,
Yeah.
all in the
Yeah.
crapper.
Well, and that's the thing too. You let McCarthy who are you gonna get?
Yeah.
Who's gonna come into that dumpster fire?
Mm-hmm.
Bears. Will they will they get their quarterback killed against the Packers who are giving 10?
Yeah, I mean it's God, Chicago's so bad, and it's a dumpster fire.
It's getting
And
worse.
yeah, Caleb Williams is blaming the fans on like past things. They're just mad about what happened in the past. It's a complete train wreck. I'll take Green Bay. Green Bay needs to play well. Obviously, they're still battling for seeding, so I'll take the Packers.
You know, the Packers, I don't know. They've been they do need a good game because they're
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, they've leveled off. Yeah, it's the Bears. I'm with you. I'll take the Packers minus the points. Jags and Colts. The Who Cares Bowl.
Yeah, yeah. Flacco's playing, so I like the Colts. I'll say that.
Yeah, you'll take Flacco over Mac Jones or anybody else.
Yeah.
Bills.
Mm-hmm.
Do they play
Yeah.
anybody?
Yeah, well, they said Josh Allen's going to start because he
Why?
cares about the consecutive start streak that he's on. But also, New England says, "Oh, we're all in this to win the game." Drake May is going to play. And then all of a sudden, it comes out yesterday that Joe Milton, the sixth-round draft pick, was taking reps with the first team. So I think we see the starters for both teams for about a quarter. New England needs to lose to keep up the number one pick. I'll take Buffalo.
Okay. I'll take the Pats. I don't know why.
They did play really well last time they played the Bills.
Is Mayo on the hot seat in your
Yes,
mind?
100%. Yes.
Okay. Do you get Vrabel would be the obvious choice,
So,
right?
and he interviewed with the Jets today. If I'm Robert Kraft, I call Mike Vrabel and says, "Do you want the job?" And if he
Yeah.
says I'm interested, then you fire Mayo.
Yeah. Mayo's done.
Yep.
Yeah. I saw where we'll get into the Jets here in a minute. Giants at Eagles. Eagles are going to sit everybody in their dog.
Mm-hmm.
Jalen Hurts still in concussion protocol, which
Yeah.
is not good for down the road. Two though, I mean, still.
Yeah, and the Giants need to lose. They screwed up by winning last week, and I think they understand that they need to lose. So I'll go Philadelphia, even without Hurts, even without
Yeah,
Saquon, even without the starters.
the Giants are just so bad. I don't
Yeah.
see any way especially in Philly. Can you imagine the batteries
Mm-hmm.
that'll get thrown? Saints, who are awful at the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers still trying to win a division, trying to get Mike
Mm-hmm.
Evans to 1,000 yards. 13 and a half seems short, small.
Yeah, that's a lot. But if Tampa wins, they're in. They got a game lead on Atlanta, and so they've got to get done. I don't know if they cover the 13 and a half, so I'll take the Saints to cover,
Ooh,
but Tampa wins.
give me the Bucks and I'll give the points. I mean, the
Yeah,
Saints are just
they're bad. They're real bad.
they're bad. They wouldn't even win the 7A West. Texans at Titans. There's, I mean, one, and I'm assuming the Texans are playing everybody because they've still trying to improve their seeding.
hmm
Wow,
Yeah,
the Titans are bad.
yeah. Well, Tennessee needs to lose, obviously, because of the draft pick situation. So I'll go Texans, but I mean, Houston is in shambles right now because of injuries on the receiving core. I mean, they really have a look of being a one and done. I know. I said they're struggling to make the playoffs, and I meant they're going to struggle to stay in the playoffs. So I'll take the Texans to win this one, but it's not going to be pretty.
Is Will
Levis
Levis?
is starting for Tennessee.
He is starting. All right, give me the Texans. Boom. That's all you need to do to tank right there is play mayonnaise boy. Chiefs. Yeah, with one loss, getting 10 and a half. Granted, they're sitting everybody, and the
Yeah.
Broncos need a win,
hmm
and the Bengals are like needing Kansas City to do them a favor,
Yeah.
which is
Uh,
ironic.
I'm going to go crazy on you here. I'm going to take the Chiefs.
Yeah, that's
Not
what
to
I'm
win,
thinking too.
but to cover. Yeah.
No, I'm with you. I think the 10 and a half. I mean, I'm sorry. I can't see an Andy Reid team
hmm
losing by double digits. And I can't recall
Right.
the last time it even happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they don't lose very often, especially by double
No,
digits.
no, not at all. So we'll both take the Chiefs there. Ooh,
Yeah. Bad.
too,
Bad,
yeah,
bad. Purdy shut down. Give me the Cardinals.
yeah. Though, as we know, Murray doesn't play well, but yeah, I mean, the
hmm
49ers are done.
Yeah.
So we'll both take Chargers, Raiders,
Yeah.
5.
Chargers.
Yeah. I guess, and I saw something that was one of the media gurus, writes for the Athletic, said that he wouldn't be shocked to see Brady walk away from Fox and get more involved with the Raiders. Would that surprise you?
No, because he has Tom Brady's fine on the broadcast. He's not good,
No.
and I think this is an easy way for him to get out of that.
Yeah. Get his fix. Seahawks,
Yeah.
Rams. Rams getting 6.5.
Yeah, I mean, Geno's. I think he needs 180 yards to hit like a $2 million bonus. So there's some big incentives on the line for Geno Smith. So I think he's going to go out and play well. So I'll take the Seahawks.
Okay, I'll take the Rams. The Jets interviewed Lewis Riddick for their GM spot. A half point. I have not seen this line in forever in the NFL.
Yeah.
Jets are getting half a point at home against
Yeah.
the Dolphins.
One move that I was actually impressed with what the Jets did, they actually interviewed Nagy from the Senior Bowl for their GM spot. I was like,
Oh, really?
they're actually interviewing somebody who knows what the hell he's talking about. So good for the Jets.
Wow.
But I'll take the Dolphins, even though they're starting Huntley. I think Aaron Rodgers is about to play his last game, and he's going to lose.
Yes, and it would only be fitting. And finally, the best game of the week:
Yeah.
Vikings Lions. Lions giving 3 at home.
As many injuries as they have, I'm still on the Detroit bandwagon. Give me the
Okay,
Lions. The Lions win the NFC. They finally get to a Super Bowl.
I'll take the Vikings.
Yeah.
I don't
Darnold's
know.
playing
I don't
so
know
well.
why, but I could see it being a 1 point game. Wouldn't shock me for the Lions to win. Final
Mhm.
word.
It was targeting.